Yeah, hello once again. Well, the technique for today, to talk about which I never done a very long time is, well, on the most YouTubers already did it, they got mentioned the forgotten ovals, and they end up brought back in the renovation of some sort, but they end up in United States motorsports. Well, yeah, they end up the ovals are not even mentioned as much as they compared to the more forgotten part of the United States motorsports. Yes, the roller courses. The roller courses is the big figure piece for a lot of racings outside NASCAR and others. And then I talk about the most forgotten roller courses, and they end up for the in the whole entire U.S. every single one, and to see why. And to show you that on that class of Google Maps. First is Arroyo Simcoe Raceway, located near Derby, New Mexico. This is the only, I believe, this is the only road course in the state of New Mexico. There, yeah, it's a permanent star road course, that connected to a drag strip, similar as to the track at the end of the end of Saint Lane One as well. This club road course to the end has never hold a permanent race there in New Mexico. Is hosted a lot of racing over the years. Here it is. This road course connected to a drag strip. Yes, it does not have grandstands, but but this road course is small. It's right located right near I-10, as you know it. You might be missing on the highway, but then just drive past it because it's just there. Yeah, so it makes sense. So yeah, it's one of the forgotten road courses there in the state of New Mexico. It's because it's just there. It in the full road course has 11 turns, but partial takes 5. It's like one of the shorter end road courses there in New Mexico. Another one is at Atlanta Motorsports Park. Don't confuse to Road Atlanta, the hold of the Petite Lamar, which is very popular these days. Atlanta Motorsports Park, known as AMP, and they end up hosting, Altoma batteries and also Champ-Car World Series, which is endurance racing at their own part. This road course is located within Georgia. If I just show you right now, here it is. This thing not only does have built-in stands, but also has a good shape right here. Here's the shape of the road course, and then the hosting for the end of a Champ-Car Endurance Series, and the end of C1. Yeah, so yeah, you held nothing out of there, but you see it is. And it was designed by Formula One's architect Herman Tyke. So they end up using it to try to make the US variant of Spa mixed with Nürburgring and the located in, you guessed it, you guessed it, Dawsonville, Georgia. Yes, Dawsonville, Georgia. Technically, even though Dawsonville really well in the middle of don't need the racetrack Atlanta Motorsports Park is. It was also one of the birth tracks of NASCAR driver Bill Elliott, Chase Elliott, and Casey Elliott. And yes, so I just wonder right now, is Atlanta Motorsports Park where Chase Elliott practice how to be, well, the one of the greatest road course racers over the years? Who knows? It's one of those signature roads to the road courses in the US, so see why. There. The scene makes sense. Next one is Audubon Country Club, located in Juliet. Don't confuse and the other racetrack in Juliet, Illinois, Chicagoland, and Oval. So don't worry about that. Anything Country Club is a club road course located in Juliet, Illinois. And yeah, Illinois is going to end up home to a lot of races over the years, as you know. Here it is. Here's the track. And yes, it does have built-in pit road located right here. Yeah, it's an astounding road course right here. Really big too. Located in Juliet. Yeah, it's a club track. Similar in the Thermal Club. This is the end of one of those type of racetracks. It's the end of built personally for clubs. Yeah. Opened in 2004, it hosted IMSA GT3 Speed World Challenge, USF 2000, Pro Mazda, Trans Am, and Atlantic Championships. Yeah, yeah, it is it's most likely it's surprised to expect it is a 19-turn road course. It's also very long too. So see why. So split up the North Circuit and the South Circuit. It is seen on already. Yeah, it's called modified endurance races. So let's see why. Yeah. So then, this track held multiple racers over the years, like Bobby Rahal, Grant Rahal, David Hansimir Hansen, Cooper McNeil, Jay Howard, Peter Dempsey, and Tom Bagley. So, oh yeah, before I mentioned Grant Rahal, Bobby Rahal, and the former IndyCar and Champ Car racers, as you know. So, to the end of the whole some test races there. So it makes sense. So yeah. So it makes sense. Next one's Black Hawk Farms. Black Hawk Farms City located right near the Wisconsin border with Illinois, located in South Ballot. This is a track opened in 1967, so it's one of the older Edinburgh courses on the list. On in the video of some sort, anyway it is. It's a 7-turn road course. It's also nicknamed The Farms. And this track is legendary for the Club Star Racing. And here it is. Here's the road course you mentioned. And yes, here it is. It's right near the Wisconsin borders, shown on the screen right now. Yeah, so how did you get all the way to this track? Well, you had to get into Wisconsin and then head south back into Illinois, and then here it is. Which, so yeah. Yeah, there's a fun was help with Simca and then others back then, but the problem is the whole little modified road courses there. So there's an open, is a like line block They do not have stands, but they can use fields as like a one of those type of features of the track. Let's see why. Let's see why. And yeah, Blackhawk Farms they just opened a, a decade after the famous Road in America, and they end up opened. And yeah, if you ask, but yeah, I think Blackhawk Farms should have hosted something way bigger. The problem is Road America is more popular, and they kind of ruined it for Blackhawk Farms. Let's see why. So that's why it isn't one of the forgotten races tracks in the US. Next one is as you know, once before the end of the in motorcycle racing also, but not in auto racing. You have Vineyard International Raceway in as you know, obviously Vineyard, Minnesota. It has its the track cut down over the years, but it still hosts the races. Yes, Vineyard is a home for the NHRA's or drag racing team, but used to be home for, as you know, racing from earlier videos, Moto America used to race there until 2024, last year. We're also hosting FR America's Trans Am, Pirelli, NASCAR Camp Pro Series back in 2012-2013, World SBK, IMSA GT Championships, and Can-Am. Vineyard, located in Minnesota, is a help very good international light race racing. It's one of the giants in racing too. Here's the track what it looks like. It's pretty huge. A lot of distance some sort. And yes, before you ask right now, that's the whole entire track look like is all this. But it's just been cut all the way down to this area shown right now on picture right now. That's technically what Vineyard the way it is look right now with the competitions. And yes, it does include the drag strip part on the track itself. And as you know, as it end up is in Vineyard. They're already. This makes sense. Oh yeah, Vineyard in the competition wise is 13 turn road course. So they add an extra 3 turns in the Donnybrook version is only 10 turns. Next one is Buttonwillow. Buttonwillow, don't confuse the other one that in the later one on the track. It is a form of SIMCA race within California. It says here it's supposed to be like a 23 turn road course, but I'm seeing here is only a 12 turn road course. I don't know how to get 23 though. This is technically on me. But this is on a different format though. Located in Kern County, California, in the town of Buttonwillow, this racetrack opened in the mid-90s. And they held some racing over the years. And yes, it is a big road course. Here, the so it's in a anyway. And also take an obvious look at other Buttonwillow is in and right near. There's zoom on anymore. Yep, there's Highway 5 located right next door to it. It's nicknamed the flagship Trap a Car Club, which is a region of Simca there too. Yeah, this track opened in 1995, so they end up to be one of the newer tracks back then. But it is a C1. And here's the thing, the track did get repaved back in 2014, which is like 11 years ago at this point, and now they add a new technical circuit, Vision 2023. This is in the known as nicknamed circuit to the original track that we named the classic. Yes. How you can tell that this is real quick? I will show you on Google Earth because that's not gonna show me on Google Maps in the way it is. So, and I don't have a Google Earth app on here. My bad. Well, I'm gonna pause this video right now to show you what Google Earth looks like. Yep, here it is. Here's the new modernized road course seen on Google Earth. Located right there. So the end of right next to the other side of the canal. This is a new road course by Bottomwillow at the end of adjacent to the swim known as the circuit right here, which is right next to the classic here to the end, as you should know. To the end of, so this is within Bottomwillow, and this road course is unique, as you should know. Yeah, the next circuit that I might look at is Chickasaw Valley Raceway. And yes, this is another road course located in California, and this one is in Desert Centers. It's Southern California, though, which is right near Joshua Tree National Park. And yeah, those things are vacas, not vacas, yacas. There. But end up this road course there in Desert Centers. They end up hosting some bunch of club racing. And yes, one of the turns just gets stuck right in with the drag strip, and in the scene in the background. All the way, there's a drag strip here. And also, as you know, it's also, and I found out that's not a drag strip. That's an airport, and I found out. My bad. So yeah. So this is what the road course looks like on map. This is Chickasaw Valley Raceway. As I found out, it just gutted right into the airport here, to like a single lane airport. So therefore, technically used technically for Cessnas and other cities to launch from. So it's privately owned. Opened in 2010. This track is the end of was formerly like a dry lake harbor area, owned by the train grounds. General George Patton's soldiers during World War II did the use as a the air supply depot, and this is that airport right next to it. The end of talking about, and it has a built-in radio transmission beacon, and it still remains. And the end of where it is in the that farmland is in the transport to water skiing and wakeboarding. Is the middle seat there, and yeah, because of and it was kind of demolished back in the Great Recession, and then it got in its place with Chickasaw Valley Raceway in its place of the famous area for wakeboarding and water skiing. So technically means this racetrack is taken in its place. So yeah, this is pretty smart. To the end of try to the end of making to turn something less popular to make it turn to something more popular. So yeah, it's a 17-turn road course in Desert Centers. To the end of in the end, it can run both clockwise and counterclockwise. And the course contains numerous elevation changes. So yeah, which kind of smart, and then they end up saying about that within desert centers. It is see why. Next one is known as Eagles Canyon Raceway, located in Decatur, Texas, which is not far from the nearby Texas Motor Speedway. See why that track's not exactly as popular. Eagles Canyon, the forgotten racetrack in Dallas-Fort Worth, sits a Texas Motor Speedway and the brand new street sub Austin. Arlington, my bad. So located right near Cowboy Stadium and then in the Rangers ballpark for IndyCar next year. Eagles Canyon, the privately owned road course in Decatur. And here's the full looks like the track. It's very small. As they should have known, this held a lot of club racing there in Decatur. Yeah, yeah. No. And it is 11 turn roll course, but here's the little differences here. In 2019, they increased up to 15 from the Italian Canyon. 2007 so the Canyon they got 9, and Little ELA has 6. But the original circuit is in the recently been shut down back in 2018 has 11 turns, so you get the before you ask one now, what does Eagles Canyon look like now? Well, let me show you. Here it is. This is from 2023, and yeah, here it is. It looks like now. Yeah, they kind of got an extension of the road course at Eagles Canyon. So yeah, you can see some of the details, but some has been blocked up by the cloud. But they end up, you need to tell this track is at the end of the whole something, right? Next up is Firebirds Motorsports Park. And yeah, and they could call the Firebirds because of the whole scenery they end up for like rally trucks, and they end up with all the over those humps. And there used to be a road course here. Here it is. As home for NHRA's Mission Foods Drag Racing Series, but fully home for Nitro Cross, Lucas Oil Off-Road Racing in the 2020. You got Superbikes, Sesga World Challenge, and IMSA used to race there too. Firebirds located in Chandler, Arizona, right near Phoenix. And don't confuse to the other side of Phoenix, Phoenix Raceway Oval there. So this road course here. Yeah. This road course is seen right now is technically this is all it is of the road course. Now in Chandler is also not far from one of the main freeways here, I-10. So yeah, as you know, they're gonna end up if you go up towards Chandler, Arizona, again I-10, you're gonna see missing out Firebird. They end up. So let's see why. Yeah, it's one of the famous racetracks that they end up in within Chandler. So see why. Another one is if you know the oval version of Gateway Motorsports Park, aka also known as Worldwide Technologies Raceway, on the oval version, and they just quick question this one now. People say, what's missing on this track? And then they never watched in the scene line. And yes, this track was built oval until it was first made a road course, then demolished, and then got an oval there. And yes, Gateway does have a built-in oval, aka a road course, which is still existing within Gateway. And they only see just the oval, but they look inside Gateway. There was a formerly abandoned mobile located within Gateway of some sort. The end up. Here it is. Here's Gateway, but in the look inside Gateway, you can see the configuration of the road course built into it already. I will show you the low zoom-in shot. You can see a road course curving into the oval like that. That's this road course portion at Gateway. Yeah. And yes, this thing opened in the same year as the main track as well. Anyway, in 1997, it replaced the old road course. Need to show you, here's a better shot of what the road course really does look like within the track. To see for Gateway, so to see already for the bit what's in there. Well, the next one is Ginger Man Raceway in South Haven, Michigan. Yeah, it's what. Yes, Michigan does have a road course on top of the oval, known as Ginger Man. It would show you a better shot in Ginger Man. Here it is. Ginger Man is an end. I thought it's gonna be a small road course, but no, it's kind of big. And yes, it does have. It looks like on Google Maps, it did have a little bit because the expansion recently been done already here. You're seeing this little, like a little panhandle on the track. It is supposedly like a boot on this track. This track right here is like in Michigan, Virginia International Raceway here. Opened in 1996, this racetrack at the end of hold known as the Grid Life Festival there, of some sort, but they held test tracks for sports car and motorcycles. Yes, the expansion there is an 11-turn road course, but I think this expansion this is pretty much nothing because it's never used a lot. So yeah, so it's kind of interesting about this road course and Ginger Man, as I see already. So the next one is Hollerman Motor Racing Circuit, located in Greene County of Oklahoma. And they cannot say one now. Oklahoma something did not hold NASCAR. Did they miss out something? And the answer is yes, they did. This road course, like here in Oklahoma, right near Tulsa, which is also right near US Highway 412 here. This is end up kind of unique at Howlett. Howlett is opened in 1976. Yeah, it's a 10-turn road course. Used to hold Can-Am, Trans Am, and IMSA GT championships. There. And yeah, this road course is kind of very interesting to compare the feel and then how the fit looks like. I got some pictures all the way. There was back then, but this kind of makes sense. This makes sense. That's just the way it is. The next racetrack is known as Harris Hills Raceway in San Marcos, Texas, which is right near San Marcos, if you do not know, is right near Sanitary Austin area. Don't confuse with another road course which is existing right now, COTA. Okay, Circus of Americas. Harris, but they end up with no demoted as a forgotten racetrack, right near Austin San Antonio, is used by club racing. Here's what it really does look like here. End of some sort. It says he was home of Austin Experience and Exotic Cars Club, which is kind of nigga obvious. Guys have built a pit road too. It sticks out like a sore thumb. Yeah, it's right. Yeah, even living in nearby neighborhoods of some sort, you're kind of missing out. It is a little bit like a road course mainly in your backyard. So yeah. Harris Hills Raceway. It's in the end up used by clubs. So they end up it's really big in the hill country. Or it's also nicknamed H2R. Let's see all the way. This makes sense. Next up is known as Hutchins Island, which is another thing. And they just wonder why now. Hutchins Island is in the Dusho Park. And other stuff too. There's no road course. Where they end up. Yeah, and they take a look at this area, but and that's not like those. Yeah, it's in. My bad. I could go to Georgia. That's my bad. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. And the question is, what now? But dude, where's the road course? Yeah, if I search up very carefully, and I did. Well, here it is. This is what the road course looks like. Right here, known as Hutchins Island. Anyway, that track has recently been revived, and then as you see it right now, they look kind of closer, and yep, here it is. Hutchins Island Raceway, right here. Located right there. Can't miss it. It says right here. So here's this circuit looks like in Hutchins Island. It's kind of like the American version of Circus Gilles Von Derb. This is a track in Georgia, near Savannah, Georgia, which technically knows one of the hottest cities on in the state in the U.S. I meant. This racetrack is used by a club of some sort, and yes, it's right near the historic city of Savannah, Georgia. It's not far from that, so let's see why. Next up is the Rocky Mile road course. Yes. And then before you ask why now, wait. Rocky Mile. It's one of the oldest ovals in the US. I would say yes, it's really old. But they forgot to mention this oval has a secret weapon. Yes, this oval in Rocky, Wisconsin, or West Ellis, Wisconsin, does have a built-in road course. Here it is. When you look on the Google Maps, you can see the outline of the road course very clearly defined around this. Skip it down turn 4, and then enter into turn 4 to exit out of turn 4. Could they get into a section of the road course at Rocky Mile. So yeah, this is one of the additions at Rocky Mile. But anyway, Oval opened in 1909 as an oval feature. Yeah, it was a horse racing track that got asphalt later on, but its road course configuration didn't really get added until, to search it up right now, in 1955, after they got paved in 1954. Now, It's a 10-turn roll course, and as you obviously know, this roll course is how technically private usage of, you guessed it, it's a testing ground for the Volvo Confederation for the Rocky Mile. So yeah, which as you know, it's just the ovals we probably used. The road course is forgotten in Rocky because of this. So this is one of the forgotten road courses there. In Rocky, known as the Rocky Mile Oval. So let's see why. So that's gonna be interesting. But at the end of the year, people that might not know it until already. Next up is Monticello Motor Club in Monticello, New York, a private-owned road course located in New York, which is used mostly by clubs. Yeah. Here's a road course in full glory, pretty huge and very elevated. In spite of this motor club does explain it a lot. To see why. This road course is used mostly by club racing. It's also opened in 2008 and used to hold Global MX Cup on MX5 Cup, my bad. It is a 21-turn road course. And they end up hosting in some sort. Yeah, it's one of those. This is one of those tracks in New York. It's supposed to hold a. It did submit a bid for Formula One back in 2012. Yes, before they built COTA, they were supposed to hold in New York instead. In Monticello. There, so Monticello almost held a Formula One race until they scrapped it for COTA in Austin instead, which is located on the former Monticello Airport. Yeah, like I said, can you wonder right now if Formula One being to Monticello Motor Club instead of Circuit Americas? Yeah, that leaves with NASCAR replacing Watkins Glen with this track, and it just comes to be, and this will cause a derailment, and how risky it can be that it did become a Formula One track. Thankfully it didn't, and instead it chose COTA, and that became history. So yeah, so this is almost became a Formula One track. So kind of surprised that they ever did not know that until right now, which is it's now became one of the forgotten road courses in the United States, hosted for club racing and not by final. Next up is Motor Sports Park Hastings, located in Hastings, Nebraska. Yes, as you know, Oklahoma is not the only state that has a multi-road course in the plains. So is Nebraska. Don't confuse is another road course in Kansas, known as Heartland Topeka, which is now abandoned, which is not hosting racing anymore. Motor Sports Park Hastings, and they end up located in Hastings, Nebraska, located right next to a highway there, which is on the bypass US Highway 34. Here is a club-owned racetrack located in Nebraska, and they end up. And they opened in late 2006. And they end up in a 13-turn road course. Yes, it even held in the Saska, NASA Mid-American regions, Channel Endurance Series, and even modified clubs. This road course is unique, and it becomes It's almost copy of another track that come later on in this video. You'll see why. As you can see what I'm talking about, right? So yeah, this makes sense. Nicknamed bestest places of speed legally in the United States, kinda makes it obvious by Forbes.com. So to see why. It's kinda safe. It was one of the safer road courses there, located in Nebraska. Oh yeah, you do think Nebraska's kind of boring, has cornfields of some sort? Well, there's one thing missing out for ya. Yeah, here it is. Next up is More Sports Ranch in Cranston, Texas, which is another road course forgotten because of the Texas border. Yeah, in Cranston, Texas, located in right on the border, Johnson Park and Hood County, there, which is right south of I-20, as you know. This, like Eagles Canyon, More Sports Ranch, it's another club-owned racetrack, and it's pretty much very wide. Right next to, this is right next to Business Highway 377 there. It's just within Suffolk and Cranston. This road course, so it's very long and very interesting to compare to look at. Yeah, opened in July 1999. It does have they go to a huge combined east and west. It's a 16-turn road course already, for lengths up to 3.1 miles. Kind of distance in some sort of way it is. And yes, it's a club area, so they see why. Located there. I think the ranch or MSR Carson. Let's see already. But we never have seen this once before. It's kind of related to similar type nook as the next track is seen right now, known as MSR Houston, located in Angleton, Texas, which is right not far from Houston. And the people say, dude, Houston used to have a track and then it'll be demolished a long time ago. Yeah, and I know. That's in College Station, known as Texas Motor Speedway, and yeah, that used to have a road course there too, but it's been selling an apartment building stuff now these days. MSR Houston, here it is. Here's what it looks like here on Google Maps. Here, this track is an only Hilfer club, opened in December 2005, and held major events known as DHPE, Seska, Nessa, even the rarely mentioned there. It's known as Troy Farrell on Laments. Yeah, not confuse Troy Farrell's on Lamar, which is France. The Troy Farrell's on Laments, which is technically, but the Troy Farrell races at different tracks. Well, private-owned club tracks in the U.S. And it even holds the Guinness Book of World Records to be the most precipitated in one race, which is 216 cars, which is even held as a popular FAA sanctioned race in the Newbury 24 hours. So the end of it, they have more than 220 cars entered. So yeah, this is like, let's take a lower branding on Lamar in the United States. It'll hold more cars than Lamar, even Daytona, even hold for a 24-hour race on the sanctioned events. However, there'll be different private-owned tracks, though, which is a scenic sense. This track is an only club track, but also hosted some some testing grounds for Atlantic Championships in IndyCar Series. Yes, I say that right. So it became a testing ground for those tracks here. Some sort. You even wonder what MSR really means? It's known as Motorsports Raceway Houston, so kind of shortening by abbreviation and make it more fitting. But also, there's also known before Motorsports Raceway Houston, it was formerly named Motorsports Ranch Houston. So yeah, for club racing back then. But it kind of showing up and then they can try to avoid kind of confusing. See why. Next up is Nelson's Ledge in Nelson's Ledge Road Course in Garrettsville, Ohio. Here. And yes, this road course has the only race track on Earth that holds this legendary title. Holds the longest day at Nelson. Yes, I believe I say this right. It was one point a 25-hour race at this point there at Nelson's Ledge. Yes. And yeah, don't confuse the Mid-Ohio sports car course. Ohio does have another road course there, located in Garrettsville. And yeah, it is a very long road course. It is seen right now, located on the Ohio Highway 305, which is also connected to US Highway 422, which is right near Nelson. So yeah. Yeah, Nelson's Ledge held history over the years. Opened in 1962, holding in used to not only hosting the 24 hours in Nelson's Ledge, even 25, but they did add extra hour. It also hosts the longest days on Nelson. So they end up, which makes sense. Yeah, the problem is, it's a forgotten track. Even the deemed worse than that insult. Nelson's Ledge is now considered to be a ghost-like track. A ghost track status, I meant, in the 60s. That was at the innocent time. Yeah, it's now hosting test tracks, but they end up one of the forgotten road courses there. They end up kind of legendary too. So why the hell abandoned track and used to have 24-hour races? It's just kind of upsetting for them because they end up held significantly huge amount of history, and to see why. It says forgotten all these days after how many years of history. And yeah, it just makes sense in the part of the context. Next one is formerly Briar Motorsports Park, 106 Midway Motorsports Raceway. Oh no, not Motorsports Raceway. 106 Midway Raceway, I meant to say. Yeah, which, as you know, they compare the name one now. Though, yeah, this formerly road course Del Volvo here. New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Is the answer no? It does have the road course confederation. Yeah, you can see the outline of the track right here. So the end up, if you're looking already. So yep, this racetrack, the combined oval and Volvo, yeah, they end up the tell there, of some sort. It was firstly made to the end up as a road course, and then reconfigured the road course to the end of built-in oval, which is still holds to this day. You can tell already the oval configuration very well on this chart here. The oval added in 1990, but the road course itself was added in 1992, but not 1992. 1990 as well, I meant to say. But the main old road course at the end of open 1965, before we configured to a road course in 1990 and to shut down in 1989. So, yes. So yeah, they held Trans Am, IMSA, AMA as well. But and now these days, the road course configuration in New Hampshire is kind of now forgotten compared to popular oval. You can see why. So it makes sense. So yeah. Anyway. Next up is Oregon Raceway Park in Grass Valley, Oregon. So, Oregon Raceway Park, don't confuse too, nearby the Portland there. It's one of those really long game road courses that end up located in Oregon. Yeah. As it says here, it's opened in November 2008. Anyway. It's a 2.3-mile road course and held in some club racing. It's a 16-turn road course. So, and I don't have other information as some sort of have here because it's not holding professional racing at all. It's really elevated compared to looking at it. This makes sense. Next up is the Ozarks International Raceway, which is located strangely in Grosses Mills, Missouri, despite the Ozarks in Arkansas. So yeah. I think it's located within Lakes Ozarks region in Missouri. It's hosting NASA championships. And yeah, before you ask, not NASA, they're meant for space, I mean NASA, known as National Auto Sports Association. It's a promoting road course racing in high performance driver education. This is mainly meant for road racing, autocross, and rally. So don't get confused to that. It used to hold USF Juniors and Porsche Sprint Challenge in North America. It opened in April 2022. So one of the newer road courses on this video right here. Yeah, this is in the pretty new. Yeah, so yes. So they just wonder, why you got a new road course only forgotten? Yeah. Yes, I figured what the reason is right now. People just don't recognize tracks. You can see a lot of them on this list, and they end up relating towards and the forgotten tracks, and they end up newly built, and they end up never even got mentioned by the big series. And this is one of them. So yeah, here it is. We found out for sure. And yes, it doesn't have a big history, so let's just move on. All you have to mention right now is a 19-turn road course. So yeah, so it's kind of close to the same numbers with full coda. This makes sense. Next up is Pacific Raceways, formerly known as Seattle Motorsports Raceways, located in Lake Marvin, Berrydale, Washington, which is right near Kent, Washington. And I think this is the most northern western road course in the U.S. So this road course is kind of unique. Did have professional racing over the years, but the only one that does not have a built-in pit road. Oh yeah, it does have pit road, but it's kind of elongated. Yeah, no, yeah, because of how really elongated it is, it's really hard to even hold it to bear a picture on Google Maps. You can tell already. This road course is so long, and to see why. Because some of the road course did intersect right under the drag strip there. You can tell already. Yes, as you know, is hosting NHRA on the drag strip, but on the road course, this is I think it's one of the many tracks and road courses on the schedule to hold. Yep, and to have some racing, so they kind of relate to. There's another couple tracks later on in the video who relate to this too. Pacific Raceways used to hold NASCAR Northwest Series in 2003, which that race has been long gone. Mazda Speed Monta Cup, NASCAR Listed West Series, which is now ARCA Menards Series West, ASA Superbike Championships, which is now Motor America, Trans Am, Seska, USAC IndyCar, as I know it's just USAC, and also United States Road Racing Championships back then. It's a 10-turn road course, which is I think the only one that combines both asphalt and concrete, which is usually not often seen in road courses these days. Each road course only gets one track texture, which is only between really in the choose a choice about concrete or asphalt. Pacific Raceway is the only racetrack in the US and they chose balls, which is kind of interesting because we're gonna transition from asphalt to concrete is gonna make the texture of the track very different. So see why. This one is a assured holds racing in the future because of how unique this thing is. It's kind of makes sense. Capacity is like 30,000, which is I think the only track is not club owned of some sort, and it has built-in grandstands. I think it's because of the drag strip there, but it's kind of pretty unique in the Tri-State yet, right? So Pacific Raceways should be returned to like a professional racing status. It is in spite of this, it's kind of legendary. I see why. Yeah. Oh yeah. Before you ask yourself, when this track opened? Well, it was opened in 1960. Everyone, yep, you guessed it right, 1960, which is older than Portland. And let's see why. So how did Pacific Raceways lost fame? Well, the grand opening of Portland kind of losing the fame away from Pacifics, which, as you know, it's not the first time, and I mention this a lot. So yeah, this is like road courses losing fame to a newer road course, and it kind of makes sense for Pacific Raceways, and I see why. Because well, it's the only road course in the state of Washington, too. So next up is Palmer Motorsports Park in make it more weirder, Hampton County, Massachusetts. And I'm going to show you right now for Palmer Motorsports Park. Yeah. And yes, here's the track look like. It's a track movie in the forest. Captain Obvious here, so yeah. This road course here is in the Mosey Hill Clubs. It's a 14-turn road course known as the flagship track in New England region. So yeah, by Semska. So already, even at the point too, it's marked on the magazine, called it one of the top 10 racetracks to drive in North America, and it's kind of obvious because it's so popular. I found out for sure. Yeah, it's even worse. This racetrack is also attributed to nearby other road courses too, like Lime Rock, New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and even I mentioned Thompson, which is going to might mention possibly later on or not. We'll see, but so it makes sense. It's like a halfway border between New Hampshire and Connecticut, which is where Palmer, Massachusetts is. Let's see why. Next up is Pittsburgh's Industrial Race Complex, aka Pit Race. Before you ask, wait, this thing does have a race already, known as Motor America. I would say yes, but it's motorcycle auto racing. It has markets of forgotten racing tracks in auto racing, but not forgotten in motorcycle racing because Motor America raced there. Yep. Technically used to race there until they kind of abandoned it. Now it's holding an Atlantic Championships Track Car Endurance Series in the PVGP Historics and Pit Race, which is technically their normal company-wide move at this point. Formerly named Brave Run Motorsports Complex, this opened in July 1st, 2002. So, located in Wareham, Pennsylvania, which is right near Pittsburgh. And as you know, as you recognize, it was one of the tracks they helped for Motor America. This track is really long, and some sort is also be unique too. I guess they used unique a lot in this science video, but this is kind of how they had to use this unique so many times to know how the tracks when they end up kind of made. That's the way it is, and to try to make better pleasure and the happiness within the fans. Here it is. Yes, the full circuit is technically a 19-turn road course, but Motor America made up to 21 for some reason. If you include another 2-3 turns in some area, end up being as extension somehow, but who knows? Yes, and these do use the Motor America track, which is a 21 turn, but the full circuit is 19 turns. So this track is also hosted Trans Am into 2024, F3, F4 United States, and Monster Speed Motor Cup. So it has some really unique history too to itself. It just kind of they have a really famous history to this on their own name too. So it makes sense. Next up is the Pocono Roval. I'm gonna say, wait, the Tricky Triangle has a Roval? Yes, it does. It used to have IMSA GT championships back then. And then see why. Also hold Trans Am and also AMA Superbikes. Pocono in Long Pond, Pennsylvania, located within the Pocono mountain ranges. There. Yeah, it's nicknamed the Tricky Triangle on the oval side, but yes, you can see one little extra texture here that skips out turn 3. There. But here's the thing right now. But it goes in not in counterclockwise or clockwise. like Indianapolis. Yes, this and then that what type of ovals. You can go clockwise on the road course confederation. That means the turn. Yeah, that means the NASCAR turn one is used as the final turn in this one, which is kind of interesting in the compared to thought. That means the start finish on here, then they enter the road course backwards, and they enter into here, which is a tunnel turn, where they exit out right into the tunnel turn, right on the left side. So yeah. So you can go in Pocono backwards again in the road course, similar to that as Indianapolis road course, but it is widely used to this day. So Pocono has been forgotten, and as they know, they just zoom out to show the full length of the road course and see why. Because the Pocono road courses were claimed to be one of the forgotten road courses to this day. Next up is Rumbling Road Raceway, formerly known as Savannah Raceway Park in Bloomingdale, Georgia. Yes, a good feature, opened in 1959, and yes, it held so many stuff in the past, like Simca, BMW Car Owners Club in America, Porsche Club, and even NASA. Even North American Sports Car Association and Vintage Drivers Club in America too. And even it premiered on PBS television series Motor Week's records, and it helped reach the testing sickness of this track. So yeah, go figure. Yeah. Yeah. Here's the road course in mention right here. Yeah. And in full glory, it does have built to pit road, and it goes exit on a turn one, like most professional racing leagues usually does have to this day. Which very interesting to the comparator know. Next up is Sedona Speedway located in, well, and the correct question is, yes, it has an oval, but yes, it does have a 13-track road course there, too. Yeah, located in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Yes, New Mexico is mentioned again, and I never... New Mexico has 2 road courses. They get obvious. Here it is. Yeah, it has a dirt oval there, but it does have a road course built in within the oval. Here it is. Here's so you can see the road course in mention with the top of the oval. Short track oval right here. That's how it stands, but it's mostly built within the oval, not within the road course. There. So you can tell already. The road course has no history, but the oval did have history, so it's kind of neat differences. Yeah, the road course is mostly for clubs, but for the oval segment, but I might ignore that. They host good professional racing back then. Let's see why. Well, next up is another known as Corsay Raceway Park. I just mentioned Spokane County Raceway, so Spokane County Raceway, located in Airway Heights, Washington. It used to help Kane Pro Series West, which is now Hawken Bernard Series West. There. It's a road course in Spokane, Washington, I believe. Here it is. Yes, it does have a road course here. I think the Hawken Bernard Series West thing that he mentions is the oval, not the road course. I think the road course have clubs, and then the obvious, and look at how long it is. So it's another one of those forgotten racetracks there, in Airway Heights. Yeah. So yeah. So it makes sense. for sure. Next up is Spring Mountain Sports Ranch, a club track. Yes, I've been mentioned on social media once before that this track was supposed to go for track expansions to allow to the end of break Norge Lifer's record to be like a 14-mile road course. Yes, 14 miles of road course. And yes, this track does have expansion of some sort, but they didn't continue on the E with that. Oh yeah, but in the Google Earth and others I might do the same thing with it as well, but here's what the track looks like right now. Mostly used by clubs, and yeah, it's kind of unique. It's kind of, well, can't say great. They kind of say one now. Is kind of compare the picture. This track hosting Porch Spring Challenge, North America, USA Northwest. Wow, that's a mouthful. It opened in 2004, as you know. It's also hosting Trans Am's West Coast Championships and Rascal World Finals. Yeah, it's a 15-turn road course, but the expansion is gonna get real larger. Yes, the expansion announcement 2018, but Spawnless is right on pause right now because the issues related towards not only COVID, but also related towards other issues too. To make it obvious, in Spring Mountain, it's located in Prop Ramp, Nevada, which is on the other side of Nevada. There's right near Vegas, and as you know, aka Las Vegas, though. So yeah, I believe it's the only road course in Nevada. As I see why. There's sneak sets. Next up is Summers Point Motorsports Park. Yes, the road course is obvious because it's the only club track scanned in iRacing. Yes, Summers Point Motorsports Park is a club racetrack though, which is still hosts a scan in iRacing. Yes, if you wonder about how the endurance racing on the Summers Point racing iRacing, let's see why. Yes, this track is called Atlantic Championships to this day. Used to have 12 hours at the point. IMSA Can-Am Trans Am. Opened in 1969, formerly named Summer Point Raceway. And yeah, this location is really unique. It's in Summer Point, West Virginia. Don't confuse with a lot of tracks that are located within Virginia. Here we go. Yeah. Summers Point. Yes, I did the multiple features, but the main features are here. Yeah, this road course is kind of looks interesting to look at it compared to the terms are so a little bit more kind of confusing and for first time viewers, but looking for if they have experiences, kind of makes things worry about kind of they end up kind of interesting to compare and look. Yeah, the main circuit is at 10 turns, and some sort compared to clubs, so they take more turns. Image Mirage with the use of clubs, so they only had 22 turns. Yes, this is the only track ever been scanned, only club track ever scanned in iRacing. So it kind of makes sense. This track is the end up so narrow that went on iRacing is kind of make things really interesting. This makes sense. Next up is Talladega Grand Prix Raceway, aka the nickname Little Tally. Yes, if you ask, even Wikipedia does show you this track has no authentications to the nearby Super Speedway, which is whole popular racing still. This is in Talladega County near Montford, Alabama, within Talladega National Forest. Yeah. and held Simca WERA motorcycle racing and track days are varied days of groups. So this road course, not related to Talladega Super Speedway, as you should know, is a famous track, and they end up in right near Talladega. So here it is. Here's a track right here. The bit does have built-in pit road, as you know. Yeah, it's kind of the good racetrack to look at it from compared to maps. Yes. It's been changing layout over the years. Yeah, so if I count out the turns, so to see. It's an over 10 turn road course. And the amount of turns is unknown because it's now that it says here it is a 10 turn road course. So yeah. And yes, opened in 1985. There's an expense. Really an expense anyway compared to now. Next up is the bridge. In Shelton, Washington. Yeah, 3 road courses in Washington in this video. Who knew? Who knew? Opened in May 26, 2012. The whole Motor America has not been recognized in auto racing at all because it's forgotten. And they used to have Trans Am Series West. You didn't see why. The bridge there is the full circuit starts 16 turns, but end the chicanes is 18. The bridge in Washington, that's a now forgotten track there, so here's what it looks like on the map view, and obvious ticket to compare to NERCs is very elongated as compared to NERC. This is the end helps. It's obvious why they end the whole motorcycle racing, but not auto racing. Let's see why. Yeah, this makes sense. Next up is Thunder Hills Raceway Park, located in located in Gwin County, Willow, California. Yes. Oh yeah, we never announced this region of 24 hours. Well, my bad, I was wrong, and I was found out about Thunder Hill. Hosting Trans Am West Coast Series still, but end up it's formerly known as the 25 Hours of Thunder Hill. So yeah. Yeah, opened in 1993, and yeah, I forgot to mention right now. Yes, Thunder Hill. Don't know why, but if you know the word Deutschleife, I found out Thunder Hill has its own, known as Thunderwatcher. So, known as Thunderwatcher. Yeah, Thunderwatcher. And then which is a 42 turn road course, which is 4.6 miles. So kind of like it's kind of like a mini Nordschleife in there. And yeah, kind of makes sense right now. Yes, they added it as an expansion in 2014. Why they kind of screw over this racetrack and add expansions? Yeah. Yes, expansions is used thoroughly and in my videos a lot, so yes, hold on to that into your thought. Yes, so it's only the track itself. Here's the track that was built in the 90s, back in 1997. Look. I will zoom out right now to show you the 2014 expansion. Here it is. This area right here, which is curves on a California Highway 162 like that, this area right here, that's their expansion of Thunder Hill. At the end are nicknamed copying for Nordschleifer. And yes, it is a longer road course in the end they expanded to. Oh yeah, then they get a more obvious. Here's a better picture, and it kind of makes sense right now. Why even the expansion of looks kind of ugly. So yeah. So yeah. So yeah, obviously no one. I was opened in 1993. So yeah. This is kind of weird the way it is right now. If I'm not for sure. Don't worry, hang on, they only had 2 more tracks on there before ending this. Here it is, if I'm not sure. Next up is Utah Motorsports Campus. Yes, the track I really wanted to end up the NASCAR to return to in the future with the replacement scope, but it didn't happen. Yeah, this is a track. Yeah, it has been renamed Burt Brothers Motor Park, yeah, which is not obvious name yet, officially named yet. Utah Motorsports Campus, located in Grantsville, Utah, which used to be located in Toulouse, Utah, which is right near Salt Lake City. And yes, to make it obvious, yeah, it's a 23-turn road course. And yeah, this thing has a huge history in there. And they end up in the current and even historicalized. Opened in April 1st, 2006. Yeah, this is the only road course located in Utah. There, it's also right close to the BC of Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City is speaking of sports hub these days, so thanks to the 2034 Winter Olympics. And the Canadian a little bit obvious right now is kind of makes sense. Here's the road course in better view and better glory. There, it does have stands and others. And the Eva is right next to the Utah Fire Museum, very popular site. Here we go. This track has a whole so many things in the current day in even history. Let me read it all. It hosted Formula Drift to this day, and even Port Sprint Challenge North America, USA Northwest. Yeah, it's formerly held. Let me read it all. Arca Series West, American Le Mans Series, World SBK, Rolex Sport Car Challenge, Pro League World Challenge, Moto America, and even Trans Am. Well, that's a mouthful. Yeah. So yeah, they hosted a lot of racing over the years, which they do say, here it is. This racetrack is kind of mixing multiple racetracks of Spa, The Bend, and Nordschleifer there into this track format. And yeah, compared to looks like one now, it looks like a copycat version of is seen in Lazelle and even in Bahrain. Yeah, Bahrain and Lazelle copycats compared to how it look like. So it makes sense. And yes, had 8,000 capacity grandstand seats plus trackside seating, which is kind of really nice to have. Does this make sense? And the final track, which is going for renovation right now, as you know right now, is the Marcus, one of the oldest racetracks on this video. Yes, I mentioned right now too, Willow Springs International Motorsports Park, referred as Willow Springs. Willow Springs, located in Kern County near Richmond, California, is going through I think you go for renovations right now as the time in this video. One final forgotten track is to be unforgotten in the future. Opened in November 23rd, 1953. Yes, this is why I mentioned the oldest road course on this video is also the last road course on permanent road course on this video. Yes, I do not add the street circuits because it's mainly meant to use as temporary, so it's not permanent. So this is why I'm not adding street circuits. Yes, Willow Springs has a huge, legendary history. It's one of those only racetracks, only road course, and forgotten road course in this video that has the largest legendary status to be a legend of all road courses in the Zoom story. You can see why it has a legendary status. Yeah. Compared to all the road courses by list, the Big Willow, this is the oldest one on there, is a 9-turn road course there. Which is the end I have there. Yes, it does have Streets of Willow. It's extended with 16, and even a horse thieves mile has 9. But they end up no. But the Big Willow holds all the history there. And yes, is the only road course is also fully abandoned. It's also going through massive scale renovations. Why is this track called legendary status? Take a look at this. In the end, I'm gonna give you a conclude there. I'm gonna say, wait, I never heard of someone. I heard of some of them, but not the rest of them. You're right. And to us all my research, now that makes sense to you. Here it is. You still held Trans Am West Coast Series, AMA Superbike Championships, as it knows now Moto America, Florida Challenge North America, Atlantic Championship Series, Can-Am, NASCAR West Series, as you know, ARCA Menard Series West, as you know, it became NASCAR Southwest Series, which no longer exists. And yes, it is all right at the bottom of the screen right here. You will see NASCAR Grand National Series. Take a guess what series the mentioned is and now became. You'll be saying NASCAR Cup Series. You're right. Willow Springs used to hold a NASCAR Cup Series on their schedule for 2 years. Yes, that NASCAR Cup Series did the end up both legendary for Richard Petty and even Dale Earnhardt Sr. Yet they never raced there, but they end up on the Lee Petty did. So we end up, here it is. So NASCAR used to race there, so they found out that part of their schedule back then. And here it is. At the time in the NASCAR Cup Series there in 1956-1957, it was known as Willow Springs Speedway at the time. It has been won by Chuck Stevenson and Marvin Parch there. And yeah. And this is right in the middle of 56-57 season, which is the end of, this is a memorable type of times related to the history. We have Junior Johnson and Lee Petty, the father of the late King Richard Petty, as you know from history there. Because as a former side of the NASCAR Cup Series, it's resulted to put into the decorate into the NASCAR, not NASCAR, California Point historical interest in 1996, but it is declared by the state of California because it's a legendary status. Yep. And yes, because it's been legendary, people really want to revive this track, and then they're hosting back and be racing in the future, though. And yes, as you know, Little Springs is going for a huge renovation and bring it back to modern times. It's because the way it is. Yes, it even has some media shit on the past too. And then hosting motion pictures like Man in His Car, Love Bugs, Ford vs. Ferrari, how several TV shows like Top Gear, Wheel of Dealers, Jay and Ella's Garage, even featured in Japanese top features the feature best motoring international American Tourouge as a special. So yeah, you even have me featured in so many video games. It includes Need for Speed, Pro Street, Need for Speed Shift, Gran Turismo 6, and Sport, and 7, Project Cars, a Star Coaster, and even has a scan on iRacing as well. The only private-owned Western track that has a scan on iRacing. They even hold the official track record made by kart racer during the testing era, Mario Andretti. So yeah. They even held several records by Nigel Mansell at the time of Formula One testing, as you know. So yeah, other motorsports that they held. See, they held Track Car Endurance Series and even American IndyCar Series. Don't confuse the ring to the IndyCar Series have now. So yeah, this racetrack is legendary, and it also marked is forgotten until renovations started in April 2025. Collaboration with Crosshopper Capital Partners, Singer Regal Design, Walpole Design, Howerton, and Sonoma Raceway, and they end up deciding to renovate this road course in full glory. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's also not marked as the oldest permanent road course in America. And then you end up as a compared to the rating. And yes, this is also going for huge dollar renovation, and then they bring it back to modern times. So as you know, they heard on the news already. Yep. Yeah, heard on Racers.com, Little Springs is a group for huge amount of renovation to bring it back to modern times. Includes new asphalt to replace the old crack track surface, new internal external curves, grading, and added gravel along the track perimeters, new runoffs around the track, and branding strippings in logos in the runoff areas, curbs, and track perimeters. They end up bringing the grandpa of all whole course racing in the US back to full glory. Hell, this racetrack is even older than on the Lake Riverside track in the holds the Formula One basis in the United States in the past. So which means yeah, this track is even older than Sebring, as you know. And yeah, this is a true legendary track. So the end to see why. And yes, it's one might possibly hold professional racing in the future, as you know they're all already. As you end up know all already, it's of some sort. And yeah, to know what it looks like on Google Maps, here it is. Here's what it looks like here. Yeah. So the question is, what the hell just happened to Little Springs? And how it lost its legendary image over the years? Well, the answer is, I think drivers in the past got tired of racing in this old decrepit track, and they just start to move on. And I think also another reason is Riverside kind of kills its image too. Yes, Riverside, the track, it became famous in Formula One, which has been demolished in 1989. Also, the reason why River Springs lost its glory. Yeah. Yes. If you have the track and then lose to this track, it is shown right now. Yes. If you have a track is older than hell, the lose legendary stairs to this old Formula 1 track here, a 9-turn road course, yeah, that kind of gives it a bad sign. You're not doing so good as a track. And yeah, and then worse, that track opened in 57. Well, the Willow Springs opened in 53. So it's kind of older than Riverside. And yeah, so, as a no. Yeah, compared to that to Sebring, the whole 12 hours of Sebring opened in 1950, which is a little bit older than that. So yeah. So yeah. Within the Sebring is hold by IMSA to this day. So technically is Willow Springs is kind of a little bit older than Sebring. Because it makes sense. Because I don't know the construction here. No, Sebring's a little bit older than Willow Springs, but it's older than Riverside. So technically the oldest racetrack in the West. This is some sort. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention one now. Sebring is not built as a permanent road course until later on. So yeah. Here it is. So the original circuit, which is an airport course, ended in 1951. The first variant opened in 52. Of some sort. So Sebring's one of the oldest continuous operating tracks in the U.S. But problem is this track is occupied with what's on the airport, which is make differences. So technically, Willow Springs is the oldest permanent racetrack, but Sebring is the oldest operation racetrack in the U.S. So, we're open 1950. Yes, Sebring is a track is still used, not forgotten, but Willow Springs is forgotten. So yeah. So technically, yes, since Sebring is the oldest racetrack in the east side of the U.S., Willow Springs is the oldest racetrack in the west side of the U.S. So we see why. It kind of makes sense. And yeah, even a lot of people here they're nicknamed known as Sebring of the West. So to see why. Because it's like Sebring in the West in some sort, and it kind of makes sense. So technically means if Willow Springs sees a 12-hour race, go right ahead. Why not just end 12 hours of Willow Springs on the concurrent of the 12 hours of Sebring? So just have at it. So why not? It makes it work either way. So some sort. Yes. So Willow Springs is the indoor. It's one of those type of tracks, and it just had to oohs and ahs a little most of the time because it's just a legend track. So yeah, the original intent of this racetrack at Willow Springs, it tried to create the replica an Indianapolis Motor Speedway oval, but space contents of the finger configuration of the chem miles. As you know, it's just a person and make it into the involvement with it. Yeah, so Kim Miles at the end of this was a replicas out of Indianapolis Oval. We're trying to make it like a permanent non-oval world course to see why. They also have a nickname all the way known as the fastest road in the West. So yeah, if it's me at the end of seeing it, it's in the end of the reclassified as known as Sebring in the West because how older he is. Compared to the Kentucky Sebring and Willow Springs as the first two permanent road courses in the U.S. before the spreads each way in the way it is. Kentucky Sebring went from multiple variants in the past. In the year, it's still used for the trial as a Sebring in Florida. Willow Springs is just going to end up how racist and abandoned itself. So technically means Willow Springs is not been taken really good care of over the years, and I'm pretty sure why. Because it's held by one guy known as Bill Honoth. And they end to take over it and they never change it. So yeah. So technically this modernization of Willow Springs so not only bring the track back to life, but it is possible to bring professional racing back, like possibly IMSA, IndyCar, and even better, NASCAR back. So it's one of the oldest road courses on the schedule. Who knows? Is Willow Springs might be the possible replacement of Auto Club Speedway is right up in the air because it's a legendary status as a road course in the E-way. Yeah. And yes, this racetrack has seen every type of car from the old version to modern, and then as you know, this track went through a legendary history to itself in Willow Springs. And here it is. They know every track left and right, and then from old to new. This track has its some type of unique history. Though anyway. And yes, it does have old stands, but they end up old is an understatement for Willow Springs. Because end up to make sense right now. It is an understatement there because it makes sense. It's an end up legends, so they end up racing in the past. And it makes sense. But end up so they end up about yourself right now. Why is racing like in true life and then end up road course racing there? Yep, you can race still on iRacing yourself and then try to test out for yourself. And it kind of makes sense right now. It feels like a real true legend by doing that. And yes, like I said, if you're a racing fan, the way what to feel like in the fast lane and Legends history, like out yourselves with Willow Springs. So they end up the true legends of the racing world in the road course racing in the US. So this makes sense. That not might be it for sure. The way it is. So I'm at it. So anyway. Wait, for sure. Well, that's it for my video. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm interrupting. So that's it for my longest racetracks. Like and subscribe, like in the evening hours and hours, and see you next video. So, well, otherwise, well, bye for now.